everyone, it's Kirsty here from the Twinkl Home Ed team. Thank you so much for coming along and joining our Study Skills webinar today. It's not just me you've got today. We're going to be joined by Rosie, who's a home ed student, and she is currently taking GCSEs. In fact, she's taken some already and is going to take another batch this year. There is no stopping her. So we're going to be joined by her in a little bit. She's going to take us through some of her top tips for studying and give you a little insight into her experience of what it's like to take on some GCSE subjects and how she tackled that. So if you're thinking about that in the future, or you're even approaching it now, stay tuned. Rosie is here to give you loads of little nuggets of advice. We'll also be whizzing through some top Twinkl tips, and I'll be sharing a resource which is absolutely fantastic. I can't believe how much is packed into this one resource. You're not going to want to miss that. Later on, we've got a quick fire quiz with Rosie and another student, Ewan, both of a similar age, both looking at GCSE subjects and how they study for all these subjects which have quite a lot of varied information in them. So we're going to be doing a quick quiz with them about their different ways that they study, showing that everybody learns in a different way. Some people like to study in really quiet, calm surroundings. Other people prefer music. Some people love a nice bright room. Other people want to curl up on a sofa with a blanket to get their brain in gear. So proving that there's no right or wrong way to learn, which as home editors, we love to hear. Right, let's get started.
When it comes to studying for a particular subject, planning is really important. But this doesn't mean planning every second of the day. But I definitely suggest using a planner or calendar to keep track of important dates. If you're doing an online course, then this could be deadlines for submitting coursework or examinations. Carrying lots of dates and information in your head could quickly lead to a feeling of overwhelm. You may want to also look at planning your time really well. If you're someone who likes to be organised, then creating a study schedule might be the right way forward for you. Find a routine that works best for you. The flexibility of home education doesn't need to disappear just because there's an exam to work towards. Use the time of day when you feel most motivated to study. Keeping it at a regular time will help it to become a natural part of your day. If a goal is too big to achieve, then you might be setting yourself up for failure, and this will not help with motivation. Keep goals small, achievable, and set a date or time it will be achieved by. Smashing these small goals can give self-esteem a big boost. Earlier, I met up with Rosie, who is home educated and has already taken some GCSEs and is currently working towards 5 more. I had a chat with her about how she studied for these exams and approached the work required for a range of different subjects.
So what subjects have you taken?
I've taken business studies, maths, human biology and psychology.
Gosh, that is a full-on range, Rosie. Wow, well done.
Yes.
And then what have you then got to come next time?
This summer I have history, English language, economics, statistics and single science.
And which have you enjoyed the most?
The ones I've done, I think psychology, but overall favorite would have to be history, just because it's been an interest of mine for a very long time, and it's something that I'm hoping to pursue later as well.
Any GCSEs that you found challenging that you maybe weren't expecting, to really challenge you?
Well, the most challenging one would have been maths, because it's not something that I enjoy that much, but it ended up fine. So,
Oh, good. Oh, well done. You stuck with it.
Stuck with it.
And so how have you got on with studying for all these? Have you had any kind of tutor support, or have you done online classes, or has it really just been led by you?
So for some of them, like history and English language, I've done online courses and had a lot of tutor support through that. Psychology was pretty much just led by me. And then I've worked more with mainly my mother on kind of the sciences and the maths. So really it depends on what subject I did, how much support I had for that.
Yeah, oh, I see. So, and how did you get on with the online courses? Do you enjoy that type of learning?
I definitely enjoy the online courses, especially the online classes where there's other students as well, because that really helps just be able to bounce ideas off other people.
How have you divided your time? How did you think, right, are you a kind of organized person? Did you think I need to create a schedule? I've got to plan this out, how I'm going to cover all my subjects? Or was it what do I want to do today? I'm feeling in a history mood, How did
I'm
that
a
go?
fairly organized person, I would say. It's just a lot easier for me to actually do it if I've made the commitment that I'm going to do it. Whereas if I haven't made that commitment, it's probably not going to happen. A bit of a schedule with the whole working through them and doing revising, but obviously it did also depend on my mood on the day. Like if I really didn't want to do maths, I just wouldn't do maths, because it would be a better use of my time to actually engage with another subject than do the one I had planned for but just really didn't want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you think that's important to have that sort of flexibility for yourself to if you've got a plan, fine, but you that's flexible?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's better to do a little bit of one subject than nothing at all.
Working from a textbook, some sections can feel really overwhelming. You've got a lot of information sometimes packed into, those 2 pages. So how did you approach that so maybe more on the subjects where you were leading it, like the psychology? So how did you think, right, how am I going to break up this material and learn it?
Where it was like a really dense pack of information was I would look at the specification for that specific bit, the exam spec, because that just tells you everything that you need to know. So that helped me to know what I should be focusing on and what I was wanting to get out of the really dense information. And then I just take it a little bit at a time and try and get information out of a small section rather than doing the entire thing in one go.
Essay writing skills. So how have you studied for those? Any essay writing techniques or tips that you can share with people?
One of the main things that's important in an essay is having the structure there. So you need to know whether you need an introduction and a conclusion, and what things you need to cover in it. And one of the really helpful things that I found is having a structure for each paragraph as well. So across all the essay-based subjects, the kind of way that I structure my paragraphs within that is you have your point, and then you have your evidence, which would be a quote or something, and also explanation, which is it kind of explaining the quote and explaining how it backs up your point. And then at the end, you just kind of want a link back to your point and a link back to the overall question. And just having that structure in there, it makes it a lot easier for the examiner to understand what you're saying. And also it reduces the stress on you as well, because you know that you have the structure that you can stick to.
How many breaks did you take during a study session? Or maybe how long would you work for before thinking, right, I'm not retaining anything, I need a break?
I mean, again, it's subject dependent. On some subjects, like the ones that you enjoy, you'll be able to work on them for a lot longer before you think, oh, I'm so done, I really need a break. So it depended on that. But usually my maximum, it was kind of 45 minutes, an hour. And then I'd take like a 5, 10, 15-minute break and just relax, maybe have like a snack. That always helps. Having those breaks, it was always really important, because it allows you to kind of just sit back and take a rest and be like ready to start again. And having like day-long breaks as well, where you don't do so much work in those days or any work at all, and you go out and you see some friends, maybe that's really, really helpful and important.
And what about actual techniques for learning facts? So in those subjects that are perhaps more like maybe the science-based subjects where it is factual information that's got to be retained, what are your tips for that? Is it post-it notes? Is it recording you saying these and playing it back? Or is it quizzing, with somebody to help you? What kind of things did you do?
Quizzing with someone to help you does work, because then even if you don't know it, they kind of do. So it helps to kind of have the human like bouncing ideas off each other, like I said earlier. And flashcards have really helped me, whether that's using online service or doing physical flashcards, because that's something you can do by yourself as well. And also in creating the flashcards, you're knowing that information and you're putting it in a way that you will understand. And then also just going over it, just going over the information a lot really helps you memorize it and learn it.
And did you use practice papers, so past exam papers, as part of your preparation as you got closer to the exam?
Yeah, definitely. I've used mocks and past papers every single time, because first of all, doing it like as an exam and just sitting like in a really quiet environment, it helps you get used to kind of what the exam experience is going to be like, which is really helpful. But then it's also really helpful for learning the stuff, because it familiarizes you with how they're going to ask the questions. And if you look at the past papers in relation to the mark schemes as well, which are readily available alongside the exam papers, so you do that and that'll help you understand what they're looking for, as in, because especially with the ones like the sciences, there's usually a certain way they want you to phrase things. So doing the past papers has really helped me with that. I would do the exam paper and then I would go through the mark scheme afterwards and just mark it and see what it is and see what areas it is that I need to focus on. But also I've done it a couple of times where you kind of do the exam paper and the mark scheme, have them like side by side and have a look at what it is they want you to say and how they want you to phrase it, and then putting your own knowledge in there as well.
Any other little nuggets you can share with me? If you were, talking to someone who's maybe approaching GCSEs and thinking, yeah, I think I want to take some, but I'm scared, what advice would you give that person?
Well, I would say kind of for your first ones, don't go into the really hardcore subjects. Don't do the ones you don't enjoy. Go for like a nice fun one that you do like. And also, obviously, don't stress about it too much. If you're only at the start, or if you're like younger or whatever, you can always reset. And even if you are like year 11 age or whatever, that number's still not going to define you. And there's always going to be other opportunities in your life. So stressing about it isn't going to help you.
So good luck with the rest of your GCSEs.
Thank you.
Great things in store for you, I'm sure.
Hope so.
Thanks so much, Rosie. So what subjects have you taken?
I've taken business studies, maths, human biology, and psychology.
Gosh, that is a full-on range, Rosie. Wow, well done.
Yes.
And then what have you then got to come next time?
This summer I have history, English language, economics, statistics, and single science.
And which have you enjoyed the most?
The ones I've done, I think psychology, but overall favorite would have to be history, just because it's been an interest of mine for a very long time, and it's something that I'm hoping to pursue later as well.
Any GCSEs that you found challenging that you maybe weren't expecting, to really challenge you?
Well, the most challenging one would have been maths, because it's not something that I enjoy that much. But it ended up fine, so
Oh, good. Oh, well done. You stuck with it.
Stuck with it.
And so how have you got on with studying for all these? Have you had any kind of tutor support, or have you done online classes, or has it really just been led by you?
So for some of them, like history and English language, I've done online courses and had a lot of tutor support through that. Psychology was pretty much just led by me. And then I've worked more with mainly my mother on kind of the sciences and the maths. So really it depends on what subject I did, how much support I had for that.
Yeah, I see. So, and how did you get on with the online courses? Do you enjoy that type of learning?
I definitely enjoy the online courses, especially the online classes where there's other students as well, because that really helps just be able to bounce ideas off other people.
We'll hear more from Rosie in a moment, but first I want to share a really great resource with you.
This Twinkl resource is definitely one to get your hands on if you're looking at taking a subject which involves essay writing. This resource is packed full of information. There are 5 workbooks that take you through at a really lovely pace every aspect of essay writing. Let's take a closer look.
I'm just going to give you an example of the type of information that's included in this resource. So for example, Workbook 1 covers what is an essay, how to begin essay writing, understanding the question, different command words, and question analysis tips. The workbooks that follow will then take you through a range of different aspects of essay writing, from essay planning and structure to mind mapping, use of formal language, connective words and phrases, how to use quotations, and then looking at assessment criteria, and finally model answers. One of the great things about studying independently is that you get to do it in a way that suits you, and everyone is different. We're back with Rosie, and this time we're also joined by Ewan, who's also studying towards GCSEs. I asked them both the same questions about how they like to study. Let's see how their answers differ. When is the best time of day for you to study?
Probably morning.
Probably the morning.
Do you prefer your study space to be open and bright or warm and cosy?
Probably open and bright.
Warm and cosy.
Where do you prefer to study?
Sofa.
Oh, that's got to be the sofa.
Do you like any background noise when studying?
I mean, it's kind of impossible not to have background noise. I've got 3 siblings. Quiet is better.
Oh, definitely music.
And finally, do you prefer studying on your own or with other people?
With other people.
On my own.
That just goes to show there's no right or wrong ways to study, just the way that works best for you. Here's some top Twinkl study tips to remember. Schedule study sessions into 30-minute or 1-hour blocks depending on the subject. Take regular breaks and plan in fun things to do, allowing your mind to rest. Reward yourself when you achieve goals or complete a task. If things don't go to plan, that's okay. Allow for flexibility in your schedule. Create a study space that's right for you.
Thank you so much for joining me today. And of course, a big thank you to Rosie and to Ewan for chipping in and joining us today to tell us a little bit about their studying experience. I hope you found it useful today. And don't forget, you can find that essay writing resource in the description below this video. So do go and check that out. And I'll see you next time.